Hello, welcome for another episode. Today I'm in beautiful Kopangan, Thailand. Okay, that's working. I'm not at home, so it's a bit different. I'm outside. I hope the sound will be okay. This is the podcast Live from the Heart with Anne-Claire Méret to live and contribute from the heart a little bit more every day. Today, I would like to talk about the fact that a lot of people want to write a book and not everyone goes all the way through and really commit to doing it. And I'm going to talk about why everybody wants to write a book and why most people won't do it and tips to actually do it. So hopefully it will be helpful for you if you're an aspiring writer, and you will find some great tips for you to actually commit to your dream and make it happen. So it's estimated that 80% of the people worldwide aspire to write a book. It's a big number. Considering the spirit of my community, I can imagine that, I wouldn't be surprised that this number reaches 90 or 95% or even more. And around me, in the places where I like to live, like currently now on holiday, Kopangan, but Bali most of the time, it's just amazing the number of people who actually want to write a book. It's huge. However, the reality is that a very small fraction of those who will actually start the book will complete the project, because the statistics indicate that actually 97% of the projects will remain unfinished. In the end, fewer than 1% of the people who want to write a book will successfully write it all the way to the end and publish it. This number is ridiculous. When I found it online, I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. So why is it the case? Many people are drawn to the idea of writing a book because of its perceived coolness. It's really cool to have written a book, or romance, or prestige. And they're driven by a genuine desire to contribute. And I can see it among my community. I have so many people who are holistic practitioners, and I want to share their healing journey. They want to share why it's so important for them to heal in a natural way. So I totally understand the desire to do that and spread the word and help as many people as you can. Yet, obstacles are there, such as resistance, the lack of consistency, the lack of self-discipline, effort, and patience often hinder progress. And in our instant gratification seeking era, where immediate results are prioritized, it's very interesting to see how people have trouble following through with their projects. I can also see that short-term formats are preferred. A lot of people spend a lot of time creating reels, for example, or short videos for YouTube, but don't really take the time to create long format, like very long articles for blogs, or, that they could publish on Medium or something, or longer videos, or documentaries, or books. Yeah, I can see that this is the era of short-term format. And then there is not only that, there is also the fears that we have, that I have, that everybody has. Let's be clear about that. Fears of rejection, fear of being seen, and the potential changes that success may bring further down the road to contribute to the challenge too. Because obviously, if you write a book, then you're going to be seen by a lot of people who are going to know how you think, and then it's going to change things for you, and you might not want that. And I think that's a big part of why people don't write books, or don't go all the way, or don't dare to publish it. Sometimes they've written it and it's in the drawers, and they just don't dare to publish it at all, which is a pity, because the world needs so many voices to help us. I was a big reader. I'm still a big reader. I was a big reader when I was a child because I felt very lonely, and at home, I felt that nobody was understanding me. And then I found the library, the bibliothèque in French. I don't know, like where you go pick up books and then you bring them back. And I was just going there every week, and I could read up to 4 novels per week. And I was going to bed early in the night and reading, and waking up earlier in the morning to read too. And it felt like home. It felt so right for me. And I felt understood. And through the words, I could dive into new worlds. and it felt like I was safe, and that I could be adventurous in a daily life where I was not adventurous. And I actually think it made me adventurous to connect to so many characters, and I loved it. And because those books existed, I created the life that I have today, because I felt very inspired to see the world with different eyes. And I think we need more books. So if you have one inside of you, you have to put it out there for all the little children and for the grown-ups that need the inspiration that you are and that you have inside of you. So I've written books. I've written 12 books. So 10 books were actually published with publishers. Actually, I wrote more than that. So 10 books were actually published with publishers in France. I have another episode about that, but I'm going to just go quickly through how it happened. So I wanted to help years ago a holistic practitioner in Ayurveda, which is Indian medicine, to write his book. And what happened is that I went through publishers and they decided to not do this book, but offered me my own book. And this is how I wrote Naturopathy for Dummies, the famous black and yellow books. And then because my book was on time and it was well written and they trusted me, they gave me many more books. So what happened is that sometimes they would order me a book because they had a topic to cover. Sometimes I would suggest a book and they would accept or not accept it. I also self-published first 2 PDFs with the audiobooks that I recorded in my home on my website, which were also great success. I published one in 2018 about digestion, one in 2019 about love. And the choice of them is just that 2018, I felt like I was repeating myself as a naturopath. I was a naturopath before becoming a coach. And I didn't want to repeat myself all the time. And I wanted to have something that I could share with my clients. So I just basically gathered everything as if I was giving a workshop. And I put it into a book and then I recorded the audio. And I sold a lot. Like, I remember the first month I made 2,000 euros. And I was like, oh my God, it's like a 20 euro thing. And I made 2,000 euros. So I can live out of that. And this made me realize that I could create online programs. So it was a great stepping stone for me. And then I wrote a book about love, which I actually sold to a publisher, and they didn't want it in the end because they asked me to change so many things about it. And then I said, no, I'm not going to change those things. So I'm just going to do it by myself. So I self-published on my website. And then I wrote more books that I published with publishers. And then last year, I decided to keep the rights of one of my books. So I published it in French, Réussir en tant qu'entrepreneur du bien-être, co-written with Julia Espérance. And then I wrote another, I saved the rights in English and we self-published in English. And then, wow, if you're looking at this podcast in video, the camera is just all over the place. It's just going all around. I don't know why. It's funny. It lives a life of its own. And then I recently published Millionaire from the Heart, which is my latest book. Millionaire from the Heart is 100% self-published. So for me, this is a path of sovereignty, because before that, I wouldn't have dared to do it, to self-publish. I need to be validated by a publisher. I also really wanted to be in libraries, which is different now because I have an audience and I can sell my book through my channels. So it's a very different situation now than 8 years ago when I started. So Millionaire from the Heart, I self-published in December 2023 in English, in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook. And it's soon to be released in French. It was a whole adventure to do it in French because it's the same book, but I had it translated and then I realized that it's not only to be translated, it's to be adapted. So it took so many reading it and then people correcting it because it still sounded like a little bit English. So it's very interesting. It was a very interesting journey. It's ready, so it's soon to be out. So I don't know, within a few days or weeks, it's going to be done. It was an amazing adventure. So today, this is amazing for me, what I understood through writing, because being a writer just made me better, a better entrepreneur and better at being understood with what I want to share with the world. So here's what I want to share with you. If you want to be a writer, and if for you, you're being challenged through your creative process, but also through all the back end that needs to be done, finding a publisher or self-publishing, and all the work that you need to do in order to be actually putting your work out there, I'm going to help you with 5 tips. So first tip, connect with your why. Understand why this dream is essential to you. And there will be ups and downs, and this is inevitable. You cannot avoid ups and downs through your writing and through your publishing. If you have a strong sense of purpose, it will guide you through the various steps. So connect with your why. Why do you want to be a writer? Why is it important for you? And for me, why I wanted to do it is because I healed from my insomnia, and I healed so many things at the same time through discovering natural medicine that I wanted everybody to know about it. Because I myself went through hell. I went through so many doctors and they were not able to help me. And I took so many drugs and sleeping pills and stuff, but there was another way and I had no idea. So if I would have found more books in natural medicine, and thankfully now there are more books about natural medicine and more people out there, maybe my life wouldn't have been like this, Maybe I would have awakened earlier to something else. And my why was very, very strong at the beginning and still is. Like, for example, for my latest book, Millionaire from the Heart, it was not easy to write it. I wrote it in English and it took me so much from my core, because I gave so much of me in this book to help me through this process. I had to have a strong why. And why that? Because when I started to be an entrepreneur, I didn't get any help. I was alone. Nobody was waiting for me. And I thought it would be great if I could make 30,000 a year, 30,000 euros a year. And a few years later, I made $1 million. It's something which is kind of magical, but it's not, because it's thanks to all the work that I've been doing. And I want everybody out there to understand that if they work on themselves, if they understand their resistance, if they have a really strong why, if they work on themselves really every day to remove the blockages, they can also be wildly abundant. So it was so strong for me, this book, because I see around me a lot of people struggling, heart-led people who are struggling. But actually, I think that if you're heart-led and if you are, committed to removing the blockages, you can just achieve anything. It's just the universe is going to help you, but you have to help yourself. So that's why I really wanted to help with this book. So that's how I made it happen, although it was challenging. So that's my first tip. Have a strong why. Work on your why. Understand why this dream is very important for you. Then second, make space for writing. So in order to do that, you have to assess how you're currently spending your time and to prioritize writing accordingly and consciously seek inspiration from life. So what I mean by that is that you don't always feel inspired to write, but if your life is full, you will never find the time to write. So this is very important. You have to find hours in your week and in your days where you actually have space to write. So you have to make it happen. It can be in the morning when you wake up. It can be in the public transport. It can be, like me, I love to do it on the beach. Like I go with a notebook and I feel very inspired on the beach, so I do it on the beach. Can be in the evening. It's, for me, the evenings are very creative. I'm not really a morning person. I would rather have like brilliant ideas in the evening. So you have to make the space. If there is no space in your life because it's fully packed, it's going to be so much harder. And then you can make the space and not feel inspired, because maybe you don't do enough inspiring things in your days. So for me, to be inspiring, you just have to be inspired, constantly inspired by life. So what inspires you? And do you do enough of that in your days, in your weeks? It can be going dancing, it can be traveling, it can be spending time with some people, it can be inspired by being inspired by artists around you. It can be so many different things. So you just have to tap into, what is it for you? What is it that inspires you? And do you have enough of that in your days? and can be as simple as listening to some podcasts, can be painting, it can be anything really. For me, I feel that movement is important, and also nature, movement and nature. And I love tuning into artists. Like, for example, I recently discovered, like, YouTube suggested me a young artist. She's a singer. Her name is Griff, Griff. And there was a beautiful song, and she had a beautiful clip video, movie video. And I just watched it, and I was like, oh my God, this woman is such an artist. And because she's just the fullness of her expression in the world, I tune into my fullness. You see what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, she's an artist, but me too. So if I wouldn't be afraid, what would I say? What would I sing? What would I dance? And this helps me to tap into my creative force. Then tip number three, make the conscious choice to grow your skills in writing. So it can be short formats. First, you write paragraphs, you write newsletters, you can write articles, descriptions, whatever, and refine your writing. And then you can seek feedback. You can ask people around you, what do you think about that? You can also use AI. Hey, AI, how can I improve this text? And you implement the changes that resonates with you. You can take classes, writing classes. I did take some writing classes. So first thing first, I got a master's degree, and one of my major was communication. And I had to learn how to shorten text, for example, not make them too long and cut out what was not necessary and things like that. So those skills are very strong. And also, to grow skills, I think that reading is very important. The more you read, the better you are at writing. It's just common sense, because you've seen so many ways of phrasing things and using the words. It just makes you better. So yeah, there are so many options. I only know, well, there are a few classes like master classes and things like that with writers that you might want to take a look at online. And in Paris, I remember, in France, there is a school called Les mots, which means the words. And you can also take classes there. And it was really good. It was, I went to the one how to write a feel-good novel, which I haven't done yet. But it was super good because it was with a writer which has been writing many novels. And she was dynamic and fun and gave all the tips very generously. So don't hesitate to do something like that. It's awesome. Okay, then tip number 4, surround yourself by a supportive community. Connect with people who understand your journey and share your goals. Explore various publishing avenues and familiarize yourself with what needs to be explored. This is super interesting to do that, because quite often we feel very lonely with our creative projects as writers. And if we don't know other writers, then we're just facing our screen all day. So just meet with other writers, find them online. There are meetings, meetups, there are Facebook groups. Just find your people and then meet them regularly and talk about your challenges and share prompt exercises to unlock your creativity, and also ask questions to the writers who actually got published. How did they do it? Who do they know? So many things. It's just super exciting to do. And recently in Bali, Geneviève from my team, she discovered that there are many groups of women writers in Bali. So I joined them. So I went to Canggu several times. I went to Ubud one time. I also did the one online one time. And I'm going to go again to those groups. This is super cool, because those women are very kind and supportive, and we're just sharing cool prompts and cool tips. And this is awesome to just connect with people who are like-minded and aspiring writers, and they also want to help the world with words. So don't stay alone with your projects, because this is so important to feel that what's possible for you is possible for them. What's possible for them is possible for you. And you're going to find answers to questions that you didn't even know you had. So this is so valuable. Then final tip number 5, embrace the journey. And recognize that writing a book is a marathon. It's not a sprint. and be curious about life's twists and turns. In my personal journey, my book, Naturopathy for Dummies, was published in 2016, so already 8 years ago. And it didn't become an instant hit. It did become a best-selling book, according to my publisher. To me, it's not enough. Like, it was not enough for me to make a great living out of it, and it was not a great public success, with audience and stuff. But it led me to unexpected opportunities because it shaped me into becoming the successful entrepreneur that I am today. This is very interesting because before writing Naturopathy for Dummies, I was not out there in the world. I was not on social media. I'm more of an introvert person, but I didn't want anyone else to talk about my book. I wanted to be the one talking about my book. And so I had to put myself out there. I had to learn how to give conferences, to go to places, cafes, and libraries, and offer them to give a talk and Q&A about naturopathic medicine. And I did it. I made it happen because I had a momentum with the book, and then I put myself out there online, and I got really scared at the beginning, and then I built up confidence. And if my book would have been an instant hit, I would probably have been hiding behind it, and I would probably still be hiding behind it. So it's very interesting how it happened, because I had to learn how to put myself out there and show up every single day. And then I built up entrepreneurial skills. And then because I had written books, people started to trust me more and buy my programs and come to my practice. And then I grew from there. And then I became the entrepreneur that I am today, which is able to make €1 million a year, have a great team, and continue to publish books and live this beautiful life in the tropics. So none of this would have happened if I would not have pushed the writing door, And there was one vision where I would become a successful writer and that's it. But actually life had better plans for me, because I can become a successful writer and a successful entrepreneur and not be so shy and put myself out there. And life is so smart. It led me to do all of this. So be very curious about what's going to happen on the way, because life wants the best for you, and it's not against you. It's always happening for you. So if you're open for it, you're going to see so many things unfolding for you. So that's my latest tip. That's it. That's what I wanted to share with you today, and I hope it's going to be helpful. I'm also delighted to announce that I prepared a retreat, a writing retreat in Ubud, a writer's retreat in Ubud, Bali, which will be in July from 23rd to 30th. It's an idea that I've had for a long time, and I've had it close to my heart for a very, very long time, and I'm so confident that it's going to be exceptional. Many of the people who are in my community want to bring their projects, their writing projects, into life, and I understand that it's challenging to commit, to find time to be really focused, concentrated on their project, and to maintain quality of attention. Sometimes you just have to cut yourself out from everything else. So that's what I'm going to offer. It's actually 7 days in a beautiful resort where you're going to be far away from everything else, and you have to come alone. It's single occupancy rooms in a fancy resort, and you're going to have your desk, and you can write everywhere in the resort, and it's super peaceful and quiet. This is a perfect place to write. I wish I had it to write my first books. And now this is where I put myself in this kind of setting so that I can actually follow through my books. And I understand also that it's intimidating to face the challenges of being published. Either we choose to be published by a publisher or self-published, and there are so many questions. And so the way I want to shape this retreat is that we're going to have group setting with I'm going to give you journal prompts and coaching, group coaching, in order for you to be creative during that week. But I'm also going to offer spaces where you can come and talk to me about your challenges one-on-one, your writing challenges, and also your precise individual questions about being published. So there will be group settings in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I'm going to be somewhere in the resort, and you come find me and you can talk to me one-on-one, and I can help you unlock your potential and really understand how you can be published or self-published, whatever is your choice, and make it concrete, make it a project, not only a dream, really make it happen. And this is one of my biggest skills, that what I have in my heart and what I know is possible, I make it happen. And I want to help you make sure that you're going to make it happen too. And sometimes another block that I've noticed is just self-doubt. And when you're surrounded by other people who also want to write, and when you're working on this doubt and just building up your confidence, then when you do that together, it's amazing how you can just realize that you already have everything inside of you. Just need to make the space for it and trust yourself more. And this is what I'm going to offer. And this is just going to be epic. So if you want to join me, I'm going to put the link in the description of this podcast. I'm going to ask my team to do it. If you have questions about it, please feel free to reach out by email or through social media, through Instagram if you want, private messages, and I'm here to assist you. I want to address both your creative and practical, and the creative and the practical aspects of publishing your projects, and I know you can do it just like I did it. And yeah, the world needs you to express your voice in your very special, unique way, and I would be honored to help you being published. Voila, that's it for today. I wish you all the best with your creative projects, and I hope to see you in Bali. If you've enjoyed this episode, share it around you to your community and friends who also want to be writers, and put their bestsellers out there. Bye-bye. See you next week.